Oh wow. Holy smokes. Okay. Well, this will be my first stream right here. I don't expect anyone to join in, but I will be drawing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna watch this course. It's like 2 hours and a few minutes, and I am just going to draw what he draws and listen to what he's saying. I can't actually show you the video because copyright laws and stuff, but I think the sound should be okay. So I'm just gonna follow the course and draw, and then we'll see what happens after that. Let's go.
Hello, my name is Scott Robertson, and
Okay.
on this DVD, I'm going to introduce you to the basics of 1-point, 2-point, and 3-point perspective.
Yes.
In addition, we're going to cover foreshortening, drawing ellipses, and building forms of your own design. So let's get started.
Okay, the reason why I'm following this course is because my perspective game is weak as. So I decided to follow a course on perspective to step my game up a little bit, and that's why I'm doing this. So let's go.
All right, let's get started.
Okay.
Here's the pad of paper I'm going to work in. First thing I do when I have a new pad of paper, if it's not a ledger set pad, it has a nicer binding, is I like to take the cover of the pad, roll it underneath, and then I like to put a hard crease in this cover about an inch or an inch and a quarter away from the binding. You see it, crease it here with the back of my thumb, trying to get a nice hard crease so that when I spin the pad while I draw to achieve better line work, the cover isn't going to spin out from underneath. And I never fold the pages as I'm done drawing on them back underneath the pad for the same reason, and also to keep the pages nicer quality.
Okay.
So there's the folded cover, and let's zoom in a bit.
Okay,
the first thing I want to talk about is achieving a nice line quality. When you want to start drawing man-made objects and things done with freehand constructions, you need to move your arm and you need to draw really good straight lines. There's really no way of getting around it. It's a very different type of drawing, drawing man-made objects versus doing gestural sort of figure drawing. So here you can see I move my entire arm when I try to draw straight lines. So good thing to practice. I put 2 little points on that page, and now I'm going to try and connect those points. And a little bit rusty. But you can see, this is the thing you need to practice, is doing straight lines. So this is a foundation DVD. This is the way I would suggest you warm up, is just drawing a bunch of straight lines. Try to draw from point in space like I did there, and get your arm working. Now it's much easier to train your arm to work one good line. There's a big hairy sketch line. You don't want to draw like that. You want to do one confident stroke, one nice straight line. Let's do another one. And it doesn't matter which direction you go. Here you see I'm drawing away from my body, or you can come towards your body. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you sort of turn your arm into a machine. And it's much easier to train your arm to do one stroke over and over and over again. So I always draw sort of left to right. And again, it doesn't matter. You can draw vertical, you can draw right to left. What matters is repetition and line quality. All right, let's zoom in, and we'll continue with some warm-up.
Okay, so basically what he just said is line quality, straight lines, and basically confidence in my lines. I have to be confident in what I'm doing so that it looks and feels a certain way, which basically all, and I mean all, of the courses say. None of them would tell you, you know what, draw like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, be not, like, just no one would say that. Everybody would be like, just smooth it out. Just give me one smooth stroke, one clean stroke, one confident stroke that shows that you know exactly what you're trying to do, which is a-okay. I have practiced this a few times. The problem is, though, this only works if you know exactly what you are trying to draw, which, let's be honest here, people, we don't always know. Sometimes you're just looking for something fun to draw, and you don't really have like a set something that you would like to draw. You just want to go in and just draw something fun. And at that point, you would go like, you know what? Maybe it's here. Nope, nope. Maybe it's here. Nope, nope. Maybe it's here. And then when you're done, you're like, you know what? Yep, it was right here. That's what you do because that makes the most sense to me. But yeah, I just want to fill in this page because I hate wasting paper. So I just want to fill it in with a few things. There's no such thing as wasting paper when it comes to drawing, but drawing only one small thing is a-okay, but not when it comes to practice, like not when it comes to warming up. This is nothing but warming up. Yep, this is nothing but warming up. See, see, working on my line. Yep, okay. Yeah, this is enough for a quick warm up. Let me draw a few circles real quick. There we go. Yep, okay, that's enough practice. Let's go. Go.
Try to connect some dots here, draw some more straight lines. So I'm just drawing with a fine tip pen here, and it's a bit heavy, a bit dark, so you can see it show up. So I'm going to draw left to right, again moving my arm, and just practicing. So start with some shorter lines. There's like a 4 or 5 inch line.
Sorry about my chair.
Okay. Just keep doing this over and over. What's going to happen is that when you're drawing in perspective and you're trying to draw a shape, these points in space, when they're mirrored left to right, for instance, they're sort of immovable if the perspective is right. So you really have to be able to pass through points in space. If you're drawing something asymmetric or you're drawing something very gestural or organic, it's not as crucial. But when you're drawing a vehicle, for instance, which this DVD will lead into, this is very important in the ability to construct your own perspective grids and transfer points.
Smoothing it out.
Now, spin the pad around. Notice that really my arm, I'm only having to do one stroke. Left to right stroke.
These long strokes are killing me.
I've trained my arm over the years to repeat that stroke. So there's another one.
Nope.
But see, I'm not asking it to draw in all different directions. It's always the same line. And all I need to do is spin the pad. Another line. So doing page after page of these things. And again, speed doesn't matter either. It doesn't matter if you draw slow, you draw fast. Okay. What matters is the repetition of accuracy. All right, continuing on.
Okay.
Do a few more. And you'll also notice that I ghost over the top.
I really need to practice these long distance lines.
So I double check to see where my stroke is going to go first. So there's a dot and a dot. Now draw above it first, move the pad slightly, and then draw and try to hit that point. That missed a little bit, but that's all right. That's how you learn. Just keep on going. So move the pad. All right, get it to a position where it's comfortable.
Yeah,
see if my line's going to go on that point. I cross my fingers and hope for the best. So that one a little bit better.
That was a little bit better.
All right.
Indeed.
Now, what you can do when you have these, the skill to draw these straight lines, you can start to practice doing some perspective grids. This is a nice way to warm up and start to train your eye to see lines converging to the same point. Parallel lines.
I have to use a different page for this.
Which is the foundation of drawing perspective grids. So it's a good thing to practice. Here I'm drawing a vertical, so I've sort of set up a little 2-point perspective. Okay. Now when you draw vertical, you sort of need to get your head right on top of that, as you can see, so you can draw 90 degrees to that horizon line. This is sort of the basis of any traditional 2-point perspective grid. Here I'm drawing another line. I'm starting to build a box, basically.
Nope, I messed that one up.
Now I actually have to hit 2 points. All the other ones, all I had to do was hit the beginning point. So there we go. So I've got some points. Now I'm going to draw sort of the top of the box.
I am messing up in a lot, but it's okay.
Try to connect that. Now, see, I started from the box and then went to the vanishing point. That means if I miss the vanishing point, it's much easier to draw the start of a line versus the finish. So I've rotated the pad here to draw the top of the box. There we go.
There we
And even if
go.
I miss a little off to the left vanishing
lot
point
smoother
there,
to
it's
do
not
it
going
like
to be as
that.
obvious. I draw first on top of my vertical to find it there, and then go here and draw a line parallel to my vertical. There's the back corner.
There we go.
Now, I've got to hit from this corner out to that right vanishing point, and I ghost over it, and I'm take a shot at it, and close. And again,
Nope.
I'm going to spin the pad. I'm going to start from the front corner, right, or the near corner, and then I'm going to go to that vanishing point. And again, this is just sort of minimizing the fact if I miss, it's not going to be as obvious. It's a lot easier to leave from the left point there and go to the right. And there you have it. It's a little 2-point perspective box, drawn all freehand, which is a product of being able to draw those straight lines over and over.
Whatever.
So practice this. It will really help your ability to build complex freehand perspective grids.
I missed that one.
And now what I'm doing is just go back, draw back over the top a little bit, and add a little bit of line weight to pull out our box. Now you can see this is fairly heavy pen that I'm using. So if these were my guidelines for a sketch I was doing for myself, I would have drawn with a much lighter pen for my first block in of that box. And then I might switch to the pen I'm currently using to do this outlining. So you can see when I draw back over the top, I tend to use my fingers a little bit more. I messed this one
up to the max, didn't I?
It's still a very controlled stroke. Basically. And I go back and forth a little bit same direction. Those are fairly short lines, so not so tough. But again, something you can do all freehand. Assuming you take some time and learn how to draw straight lines first.
Yeah, I messed that up, but that's basically just a
little practice 2-point perspective grid.
Okay.
This will really train your eye to see those converging lines. Okay, let's trash that one and move on.
He's going pretty quick, I have to say.
The next thing is continuing to practice your line quality and connecting points. When you start to draw in perspective, especially man-made objects, again, those points in perspective are not going to move when you try to mirror a symmetrical object. So you're going to run into the problem of having points in space, like say the far side of a fender of a car or the far side of some shape, and you're going to have to draw a line through those points. So this is another sort of good practice point, which is to basically try and draw a curved line through 3 points. Now you see me sort of moving around my pad there, trying to think about, well, what's the next curve I want to draw? So there's one without some points, just trying to draw some accelerating curves. And again, training my arm. See, short lines I can come towards myself. There's another short line. So those are not so tough. The big long lines, though, I really like to spin that pad and get my arm working for me. There's 3 more points. Try to draw a nice accelerating controlled line through those points. You can see I draw the first part, and then I spin the pad again, and then I pick up the line and continue.
Okay, so I see what he does. So it's like
again, just practice. There's no right or wrong.
He goes
again,
here.
You move your arm in any direction.
He just flips it.
I find it's a lot easier if you sort of train your arm
bam.
to go and repeat one direction. As you see, I always draw left to right.
That makes
I usually
sense.
ghost
that makes
over
sense.
the points. Sort of have to hit the second point, knowing where the third point's at. That will help you draw very controlled curves. So practicing these will become the basis for vehicles or forms that I want to draw. Here I'm going to try and draw one upside down. A little bit wobbly, didn't hit the second point, but not too bad.
Okay, I see what he's saying. What he's saying.
Let's try and flip the pad and see if I can improve upon that a little bit.
I see what he's saying. Yeah, I don't like flipping the pad
a little
because
bit more control. Hit my points. A little bit wobbly over there.
Okay.
Not too bad. So, personal preference. If you draw really fast, you're probably going to not spin the pad as much, and the accuracy of your drawings will go down as a result.
Yes, true. So basically, he just scolded me and basically told me if you go really fast with your drawings, but you don't actually turn the page, you won't be as accurate. So he just scolded me. He wants me to turn the page if I want to increase my accuracy, which is fine and dandy, but turning the page is just blah. Blah. I don't like turning the page all that much. I should, but I don't like it. I still have some idiosyncrasies that prevent me from doing that. But okay, let's keep going.
got a little bit more practice. Just draw freehand curves. Try to drop in. It's a pseudo ellipse, a bit more of an egg more than an ellipse right there.
Okay.
Put in a few lines. Try to draw lines parallel to each other with the same gaps. Again, good practice for cross-hatching and dividing any sort of area.
Okay.
Those sort of get a little bit closer as they go along. But again, practice and penmanship. I can't emphasize this enough that it looks incredibly boring and simple, but it really will make a difference in your drawings. If you're interested in trying to develop a certain level of accuracy and penmanship in your drawings, this sort of practice is invaluable, and it's really the best place to start. I know it's not very exciting and it's not very glamorous. You're not drawing a sexy vehicle of any type. It's just straight lines, but in the end, this sort of rigorous discipline and practice with your foundation skills and just penmanship and training your muscles to repeat this sort of thing will really be a help.
So basically, what he's saying is I should just keep practicing my straight lines, keep practicing making simple shapes, simple curves until I become really good at it, because the basics are what form any image I could think of, which is very true. Very, very true. No matter how many courses I watch, no matter how many videos I watch or tutorials I watch, all of them say the exact same thing. Basic shapes are the key to drawing. So the better I can draw a basic shape, the better my straight lines are, the better my final result will be, which is very, very logical. Here I'm trying to go over one line constantly. As you can see, I'm messing it up quite a bit. But hey, practice, man. Practice. Practice makes perfect.
So I'm going to establish a horizon line.
Okay. Oh, we're moving on to the next
so
stage.
Let's draw a straight line first.
Let me just do a few more of these.
And now I'm going to spin the pad. Let's see. There's a vanishing point. I'm going to take you through 1 point perspective first. Now, the general premise here is that all parallel lines in nature, all parallel lines converge to the same point in space. So, for instance, railroad track lines or the sides of a road or sides of a sidewalk. If it's a dead straight road or railroad, they would all converge to a point in space out on the horizon. So this is sort of the foundation of building any 1 point perspective object. So I'm drawing a bunch of radiating lines. Okay, they're all leaving from that vanishing point on the horizon. Okay, and these are just my guidelines. All right, so these two lines, right, all of these lines are parallel in nature, right, but they're all converging to my vanishing point on the horizon line.
Okay.
There's my horizon line in the distance.
Basically what he did is here.
I now have a bunch of parallel lines. Now, what can you do with these parallel lines? Well, here I am. These two are parallel.
Here.
Thinking a little bit before I draw that little call out.
I messed that up.
Could be a wall, for instance. It could be a road, sidewalk. Okay, let's draw a line parallel now to the horizon line.
Okay.
Now, 1 point perspective, you only have 3 lines to worry about. You've got your horizon line and are lines that are parallel to that.
So this is like
those
the horizon line?
parallel. And your vertical lines. So let's draw a vertical. All verticals in 1 point perspective are 90 degrees to the horizon line. Okay. So it's close to 90. I missed it a little bit. See if I can get a little bit closer. Yeah, that's a little bit better.
I get it.
So
let's
drop some verticals down here into my drawing area. All right. There's a little
That's
stick.
what he's saying. 90 degrees.
And we've got parallel lines vanishing to the horizon line. We've got vertical lines off in the distance, which cross 90 degrees to our horizon. And there's a little guy looking at our 1 point perspective. So see I drop in a little figure. It completely changes the orientation to that drawing. It also gives a hint to scale.
Okay. You dropped in a little figure.
So verticals again. are parallel.
Put a little cape on this guy because he's sexy.
And really, in one-point perspective, if you're using only straight lines, drawing simple boxes, simple grids, these are the basic things to worry about. So that's really the way that I will lay out my grids for one-point perspective. So let's pull that one.
1 point. Okay. 1 point perspective. Very simple.
All right, now let's
Move
build an
on to the next
object
one.
on a one-point perspective grid.
Okay.
It's going to be a simple object. We'll do a box, let's say. So first thing I would do is establish my horizon line.
Okay.
So let's move in. So again, I ghost above, get comfortable, get my arm working a bit, visualize where I want the line to go. It's my horizon line. Let's establish a vanishing point. There's my single vanishing point. And I'm going to start by drawing some radiating lines, which I know are parallel to each other.
Let's go.
In perspective.
Yeah.
So a couple of radiating lines.
Okay.
Ghost over my horizon. I'm going to try and draw a line parallel to that.
This one's a lot straighter.
Line to it.
Who cares?
Now I'm going to establish a corner. I'm going to draw basically a rectangle. Okay. Drop in a couple of verticals. Draw another line parallel to the horizon. Ghost above it. Find it.
Nope, messed that up.
Okay. Let's draw it in. Okay, so that could be
I messed that up too.
front of a box, for instance. Now it's got to go to the top corner. I know the corners of that box are parallel to the corners on the ground, so that means that they go to my single vanishing point. So I draw those in. So that could be a huge box extending all the way back to the horizon.
Yeah, whatever.
But if you don't want that, let's
it's a nice little curve on the box.
So I'm going to draw another vertical. That establishes my depth in perspective. So once I've established that depth, draw another line parallel to the horizon at the bottom and the top. And then where those hit your perspective line, connect those with a vertical. And I've just built a box in 1 point perspective.
Yes, we did.
How about a tilted plane? All right, let's just draw something up in the air. So you can see you don't have to draw above or below, I should say below the horizon. You can draw anywhere you want in space. Okay. So there's one line in perspective.
And then he goes up.
Let's draw a line parallel to that.
There we go.
Okay. So now what I have is an angled or a tilted plane. My lines are no longer
I have to twist it a little bit.
Parallel to the horizon. Okay, that could be like a floating plane above that box. Let's draw another one. I want one. You can set that angle first, then draw the perspective line. Let's draw another perspective line. And what these could become the basis for another face of the box, or they could just be floating panels in space. And I draw parallel to that one. So here you can see I built a little object, got a couple floating panels. You can see that with 1 point perspective, you can get a lot of diversity. You're not locked into only drawing on the ground plane. You can draw wherever you like.
Fair enough.
So my orientation to that box, let's talk a little bit about the top view. We see the box there in perspective, and really the way that we're viewing that box is from above.
Okay.
So if you imagine that that's our box in top view,
you just drew this,
and we are standing sort of a little bit left of center and looking at our box in this direction. Our sight line is 90 degrees to the face of that box, and that's what's shown just above in 1 point perspective.
Okay.
That line right there and that side of the box, which are the ones going across the top and bottom.
So these two lines he's talking about
are the ones that are extending. They're parallel in top view. Well, if they're parallel in top view, right, that means that they must be going to a vanishing point. So that line is there on the right.
So
this line is here on the left. So that's how our top view relates back to our perspective.
This one.
So again, parallel lines must converge to the same vanishing point.
Go here.
Sort of the number one rule in building these grids. Any parallel lines converge to the same vanishing point. That'll hold true when we go to 2 point as well, and 3 point. You're never limited in a drawing by how many vanishing points you put in there. If you wanted to draw a very complex object, of course, you could have many, many vanishing points. And some not on the horizon if they're a tilted object, but that's a bit more advanced. Let's look at some examples.
Okay, so what he basically just said is there's this thing called vanishing point. Vanishing point. If you can't read my handwriting, I surely do apologize for that. Hold up. This I only noticed it right now. Hold up. Hold on. How do I flip this though? Can I flip this? Can I? This is upside down, ain't it? I wasn't even playing. Okay. Yeah, that makes no sense. Should be upside. Okay. Let me end it. I'll be right back. Give me a second. No. But it's upside down. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, it's upside down. That's weird. Yeah. Oh well. It ain't like a bunch of people are gonna visit anyway. We'll fix it on the next try. Bang, 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 bang. That make that one. Now we're gonna bring you up a little bit, like right around here. Still gonna be 1 point because, well, it's 1 point. We're not gonna draw through it because I don't want to. You can still see it's 1 point. So if you have like this is the vanishing point, no matter what you draw, it could be a cube, it goes to this point. Your endings would go to that point, regardless of what it is. This one goes there too because this is straight. This one would go there too. You would get this. Then, see? Oop, I actually broke my pencil. Haha. You get this. Bang, bang, bang. Very terrible. Do that again. Vanishing point. Draw me a cube. Goes there. Goes that way. Goes there. Close it. Close it. This one also goes there. This one also goes there. And this one, you just close it. See? Everything goes this way. Everything goes that way. That's the rules of the game. It converges means it comes this way. Everything goes this way. As long as you keep that in mind, we should be all right. Okay. Let's keep it trucking.
So you can see the 1 point perspective at work on a much more complex shape. Here are a bunch of thumbnail sketches I've done with ballpoint. And let's zoom in.
How do I flip this?
You can see they're quite small. That's a sort of 9 by 12 inch piece of paper. Sketch is probably a couple inches long. And here you can see I have a bunch of guidelines. So I'm going to trace back over this, and you're going to see these guidelines go back. And